So I came to Australia the beginning of February with Youth with a Mission, and I did a discipleship training school, which was 6 months. And during those 6 months, we learned about Father Heart of God, we learned about relationships and spiritual warfare. And during that time, it was really challenging for me, but I was working through a lot of different struggles that I had before I showed up. The biggest takeaway was that I learned who I was in Christ and my worth and my identity, which changed, honestly, everything. There's also, during that 6-month discipleship training school, is roughly a 2-month outreach overseas. And for my personal outreach, I went to the Middle East. I couldn't book my flights with my team because I didn't have my base fees paid off, and I still needed money for my flight and money to get there. And a person approached me and they said, "Hey, how much money do you need for your flight or to pay off of your fees?" And I was like, "Well, $5,200. They're like, "Oh, okay." And then they just walked away. A day or two later, this person came up. They're like, "Hey, have you checked your account?" And I was like, "No." They're like, they smiled and they just walked away. And I was just like, oh my goodness. And so I looked at my account, and this person put $5,200 in my account. Another person put $1,000 in it, and then there was a few other donations, and I had to the last cent everything I needed before I had to leave for outreach, and all my odds and end fees that needed to be paid as well. And when I came back, there really wasn't even anything left to be paid. It was a really testing time to see if I was still willing to choose God every single day, despite the circumstances and despite the difficulties as well. My time there as well was honestly the best time that I've ever had anywhere, I think. We got to run kids camps. We did one in the desert with some little kids and gypsy tribes, and learned a bunch of Arabic and just got to get to know the people as well. Mission building was a really difficult time. It was a transition from DTS and the go, go, go process in a sense, and going into a whole other kind of schedule with working all day, every day, Monday through Friday. It was really fun because I got to serve the base and got to do reception. I got to work in the kitchen, odds and ends, and special projects on our base. I was able to grow so much in my relationship with God on my own. And after mission building, I did the Bible Core course. The Bible Core course is where you read through all 66 books of the Bible and study through, it's about 16 books as well, and looking at the text for what it actually is versus how can I just take one verse and apply it to my life when it doesn't actually work that way. It's the context of it, and then that is what we can take away and apply to our lives. So I did that course as well, and it was very challenging. It wasn't exactly what I wanted to do, but I knew that God was calling me into it. So DTS was unveiling who I was and revealing that, and taking away the things that didn't necessarily belong. And mission building was, how strong are you going to be, and are you willing to fight for that in your faith? And then BCC was, let's take all of these things, figure out what still doesn't belong and take that out, and then solidify that so that's your foundation that you can continue to build off of. I've been extremely dependent on God during the past nearly 10 months in this journey. It's not even just dependent in finances, it's dependent on decisions, it's dependent on conversations, the words that I speak, the way that I act, what I have, what I don't have. It's literally dependent in every sphere of my life. I can say that my time here in Australia, I finally allowed God to catch me. I finally stopped running and let Him catch me, and it's been such a beautiful experience, because it's not that I don't want to depend on God, but the process of learning how to depend on God has made me desire to depend on Him for everything. After my time here and everything that I have learned, I am really excited and really confident for what God's having me step into. So I will actually be going home for about 6 months and stepping into old things, but also very new things within those. And I'll be working, and I'll be with my family, I'll be with some friends, and just getting to spend time with God and living my life for Him with the things that I've learned, and walking in my identity finally and fully. I am certain that I'm going back into missions after the 6-month period is over. So if you'd like to be a prayer support partner, if you'd like to be a financial support partner, you're more than welcome to join me on that journey. You're more than welcome to ask further questions and see what that looks like in the details, as those will be coming out here in the next few months. Once I get adjusted to being back in the States and living back there after being away for so long, then I will start to reveal all those different things as God reveals them to me as well. Thank you all so much for your love and your support, and I'm excited to see what God has next.